With all the talk of the white paper this week, it's made me really ponder this question as to whether mainstream schools can truly be inclusive. And it's not a question of whether they should be or not, because of course it should. It's whether it can actually happen. Now, before we delve into it, let's define inclusion, in my opinion. Now, inclusion isn't just about being in the room. It's belonging. It's feeling safe, understood, and being able to access learning in a way that works for that child. It's participating, progressing, and being part of that school community. So the question is this: can that genuinely happen in mainstream schools within the system we're working in right now? Because we know schools are going above and beyond. They're doing some incredible things. Teachers are adapting lessons on the fly, building relationships, differentiating constantly, trying to balance compassion with consistency. Senkos juggling complex cases. Leaders are stretching budgets that are already stretched to the point it can't be stretched anymore. And if we just take a typical primary school classroom, you've got 30 plus children, one teacher, one TA if you're lucky. And that TA might be shared between classes. In the same room, you might have a child with significant speech and language needs, another who struggles with transitions, one who becomes dysregulated quickly, one managing trauma, several working just below age-related expectations, and maybe a few that are well above. All deserving, all needing something different. You're teaching constantly while de-escalating, explaining while adapting, monitoring the whole room while supporting one child intensely. It can feel less like teaching and sometimes more like air traffic control, right? And on one hand, this is where teachers feel that dilemma. On one hand, you've got the moral commitment to inclusion. Every child matters. Every child deserves the best possible education for them. But on the other, we're working in such a high-stakes accountability system built around results, attendance, measurable progress, which is what Ofsted want to see. Now, inclusion requires flexibility, but the system rewards results through consistency. Inclusion requires time, yet we work to timetables where there's just not enough hours in the day to fit the curriculum in. Inclusion requires specialist input, yet waiting lists are longer than my to-do list as a teacher, with funding even worse. That conflict is structural, not personal. So this isn't that teachers don't care. It's that the system is working against us. And then there's another hard truth here, because when you may well have a child that has significant unmet need and the provisions just aren't there, just can't be put there because of the lack of money, the lack of resources, the lack of people, it can then affect the learning of everyone else. Not because that child shouldn't be there, but because inclusion without support creates pressure on the whole class. Teachers feel torn, parents feel like they're fighting, children feel the strain. Now, obviously, we've got these reforms being discussed. New inclusion standards, new support plans, ambition to strengthen mainstream provision. But ambition is one thing. Without capacity, it's just, what is it? Capacity means people, means time, it means space, it means money. And there are schools making inclusion work. I know there are. Inclusion isn't a slogan, is it? It's a culture. It's what happens in those messy moments. So look, can mainstream schools truly be inclusive? Yeah, I think they can be, but right now, for it to happen, it just relies on heroic effort rather than like solid design, you know? And the real question is whether the system can actually evolve enough to make inclusion sustainable across all schools, not just an exception in a couple. But I'd love to know your thoughts, because I know so many teachers feel like they're failing because they want inclusion and they're doing everything. They're giving so much of themselves to this job, yet the system isn't designed to allow it to happen. That's the conflict, I think. That's where I'm asking the question, and whether the changes in this white paper are going to make that happen. You let me know.